right, 14 minutes before the top of the hour. So the President's task of appointing a new commissioner for the South African Revenue Service, or SARS, will soon be initiated. This follows after President Cyril Ramaphosa fired the embattled Tom Moyane on the 1st of November as recommended by the Nugent Commission interim report. However, the final report will be handed to the President tomorrow. Moyane did not accept his sacking and went to the courts to overturn his dismissal, which also did not rule in his favour. So even the courts don't want him in that position. Joining us in studio is Levy Ndou, who is he's a political analyst, to talk to us about the process of now appointing a new SARS commissioner. Levy, good to see you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me.
So let's just start off with looking at Tom Moyane. It's over. I mean, he has tried everything. This surely is the end of the road for him now. He's out. Officially, there's nowhere else he can turn.
Well, I think he has explored all avenues possible. He did not want to participate in the commission that was instituted, but at the same time, he felt that is the right person to stay on at SARS. But all avenues have been explored, and unfortunately, all the courts never ruled in his favor. And this will then give the right opportunity to the President and Mr. Moyane himself to say, this chapter is closed, let's actually move on and have a new chapter at SARS. And I hope, the President will actually bring the right person who must actually take SARS to the next level. Yeah.
So when we saw what the President did, when he went ahead and he dismissed the Tom Moyane on the interim findings of the Nugent Commission. So, a lot of people were saying that he was, going over and above what the Commission was meant to be looking into. But he took this decision and said, this is what I'm going to do. So, if you look into a court of law and you look into how the process, he was in his full right to do that. Is that what we're led to believe now, the President?
Yes, indeed. For me, I saw the President was saying enough is enough with what is happening at SARS. And also at the same time, I saw the President who wanted all the problems that are happening at SARS to be resolved immediately. And that is why you then realize that he did not want to waste any little time. He started by saying, Mr. Moyane, your term is over. I need to ensure that things are actually done in the right way. And I think we're not going to wait for a very, very long time before a new person is actually appointed, because this has raised serious concerns, not only to government, but only to the ordinary South Africans who have actually been following the developments that were actually taking place at SARS.
I want to talk just very briefly about Mark Kingan. We had him sitting here the other day, saying that he is prepared and ready to lead as well, and he could be the man that could take over this position. And then we read that corruption charges are laid against the acting SARS boss, Mark Kingan. I mean, what happened there?
Remember, some of the developments or events that were happening at SARS they came as a result of deep divisions within SARS and poor governance. And obviously at SARS, especially at management level, you would then have different cliques of people, some belonging to that other clique and some belonging to the other clique. And obviously, if one of them has to take over, another clique will have to come up with something in order to block that person from occupying the highest position as a commissioner. And so those are the challenges that are facing SARS. But another biggest challenge also facing SARS has been the divulging of information to people outside, information that is actually supposed to be contained within the institution. And that actually happened as a result of the deep divisions and poor governance and leadership at SARS. And obviously you will then need someone who has to come in and ensure that the different divisions that are there comes to an end, and SARS has to focus on its sole mandate, that of ensuring that South Africa has a big revenue in its coffers.
So let's talk about the process now of appointing a new SARS commissioner. In your view, do you think that this is also going to be a very transparent appointment? Because, I mean, we saw it with the National Director of Public Prosecutions. The interview processes were open. It was very, very transparent. The President ensured that that was the case. Do you think it'll be the same with the new SARS Commissioner?
It might be. I think what we need to first look at is that the President has the powers to appoint anybody to run the commission. But then also, you know, the SARS Act also give him the very same powers to say the President can just look at anybody who is capable and then actually give this person a responsibility to run. But then you'll also recall that the President has put a lot of emphasis on consultation and ensuring that every process that actually takes place has credibility. You would then expect him to consult with the alliance partners, consult broadly, and maybe he can also make the process to be as transparent as possible. Look at what happened with the NPA. Interviews were conducted very openly, and even the ordinary citizens could sit down and say, wow, if they've actually decided to recommend the following candidates, they've actually done the right thing. So he has got a lot of options in front of him that he can actually utilize.
So what are the processes that need to be followed now?
Well, firstly, according to the SARS Act, the President can just appoint anybody.
As you said, I mean, he can appoint anyone. So
he can just appoint
there might not be any process that needs to be followed.
He might then also decide to say, let's open up applications for the purpose of transparency and accountability, and then appoint people who must go and sit in the panel, and then they actually interview.
Sure. All right. I mean, whoever the new commissioner is, he faces or she faces major challenges moving into this role. What would be, in your opinion, the biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge is credibility. To ensure that ordinary citizens start having trust in SARS processes. Look, SARS has been up there for some time, and actually there is now a downgrading in terms of how they're actually running their businesses. But in the main, there are serious divisions within the institution, and these are the very same divisions that are actually preventing process or activities to run in a smooth manner. But also, very, very painfully, is the staff morale. The ordinary workers at SARS, their morale is all down low. And you need a person who must actually come in and say, let's unite all the different teams that are there at SARS, all those that are not in unison, and let's ensure that we bring in the morale and bring public confidence so that everybody else will say, indeed, we have got an institution that is working towards the interests of South Africa and that is making sure that the pocket of the state is quite healthy.
Do any names jump out at you? I mean, who would you think could take on a role like that? That's a big question. I know I'm asking a lot of you, but is there someone that you think could be the perfect candidate to take on this role?
I think you're asking me a quite difficult one.
I know that.
Especially when you look at President Ramaphosa. You know, when the President has to make appointments, he will always surprise everyone. Look at what the President did when he appointed the Finance Minister. None of us ever expected that Tito Mboweni will be appointed.
Indeed.
And I think we in for a huge surprise as well. He might actually come with someone that is not even in the lips of any single individual.
Which is quite interesting because, I mean, political affiliation is always a very difficult thing. And, you know, you wonder if in fact he is going to go that route and say, look, no political affiliation here. Let's just fill this position with the most competent person ever.
Do we need political affiliation?
No, we don't. We don't, and that's what I'm saying. Let's hope that there is no political affiliation in the appointment.
Look, the President has got a number of issues to consider. Firstly, he must avoid political affiliation. He must also avoid people that are seen to be on his side within the ANC. The President has to come with an individual who will also be accepted by people, including those that are in the opposition benches. He must then appoint a person who must actually deliver. Above all, he must appoint a person who will ensure that SARS is running. All the challenges that are being faced there at SARS that person must be able to say, this is the plan that I have in the next 3 months to ensure that the institution is running very, very effectively. That is the huge task that I think the president has. And I know he has sleepless nights in coming with the right person.
I'm sure he has sleepless nights about a lot of things. This is just one of a list of a lot. But now, to add to it, the Nugent Commission findings are going to be released tomorrow. So this is, of course, going to also affect and influence the way forward. I mean, what are your expectations on this?
Well, based on the developments that were taking place in the Commission, the main factors at SARS are out in the open.
Yeah, so no big surprises expected.
There are no big surprises.
Yeah.
And that is why I think Tom Moyane was blocking the release of the report, because obviously he's aware that is actually implicated. There might be other people that are going to be implicated within SARS, but I think in the main, SARS has to go back to its roots and ensure that the service or the responsibility that is given to that institution is actually being rendered to all South Africans. And you need the right person to actually do so in running that institution.
Yeah, and a lot of work. I mean, I think what you've said is bringing integrity and trust and credibility back into SARS is the biggest challenge that anybody's going to face at a time like this, where SARS has been shrouded in controversy for far too long. Just finally, as we wrap up this conversation, a lot of experts are saying that the loss of Tom Moyane's appeal is a devastating blow to the Zuma faction. I mean, can we even speak of things like that? I mean, do you think that that plays any relevance here whatsoever in this political atmosphere?
There is always a view that suggests that there is a cord that connects former President and Tom Moyane. And this cord extends to other state institutions in which President Zuma had a grip. But then we also recall that President Zuma also made an attempt in court to say the president has actually gone overboard, referring to President Ramaphosa in terms of his actions. That has to be interpreted as a way to say maybe President Zuma still wants to have a hand in how certain institutions are being run. And unfortunately, when you have this kind of a situation, indeed, that cord is actually getting broken, and President Ramaphosa is getting more grip into the state institutions and ensuring that his vision and what he intends seeing happening in South Africa has to be realized. And indeed, also, few one by one of those people that have been seen to be more supportive to former President Zuma are actually getting out of the system one by one. And then we're going to see a stronger Ramaphosa running his own administration.
All right, Levy, thank you for talking to us. Levy Ndou is a political analyst talking to us about the future of SARS and the process of appointing a new commissioner. Let's take a break. We'll see you with the news after this. Do stay tuned.